Good day, and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. It's November 30th, so it's time for the November wrap-up. That's coming right up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Well, hello, and welcome to Drew's Book Reviews. Let's talk about what I read in November and how my reading goals for the year are going. And of course, before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check out my Discord link down below. Go check that out, as well as my Bookstagram. You could follow me over there. So let's talk about how my reading for the year is going so far. So, as I've mentioned in previous wrap-up videos, my goal was 75 books to read for this year. And right now, I am sitting at 69. That's right, 69 books fully read this year on Drew's Book Reviews, or for myself, and so far it's going pretty good, which means I only have to complete 6 more books to finish out my goal of 75 for the year. I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic that I'm actually going to meet that goal. For a while there, I was kind of wondering, it seemed kind of sketchy. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get to it, but here I am, almost read my yearly goal. I should be able to finish 6 books next month, hopefully. Here's hoping, right? So let's talk a little bit about what I have read this month and how that's going. So, of course, the first book on this illustrious list is going to be, naturally, The Lost Meadow, Brandon Sanderson's new release. So definitely stay tuned. My review for that book is actually coming up here on Friday. So make sure that you stay tuned and hit that bell notification so you know when my review of The Lost Meadow goes out live. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. It was just a fantastic read, another great Brandon Sanderson book, one of course that I thoroughly enjoyed, as I always do when it comes to Brandon Sanderson. Was absolutely loving that. So some of the other books that I read this month was Warbreaker. I finished up my reread. I read this on graphic audio and read along with it in the book. I love going with the graphic audio on my immersive rereading. I'm really enjoying that. It just feels like it makes the book more entertaining, more fun, and more enjoyable. Not that the books aren't enjoyable without graphic audio, they absolutely are, but I find that with the graphic audio it just enhances it so much, and I absolutely enjoyed following along. I've also got a review for Warbreaker, which will be coming out on the channel, so stay tuned for that as well. Warbreaker was actually the November Viewer's Choice pick for books that you want to see a review on. It got 50% of the votes, but that's still more than the rest. So not a majority, but half you voted for Warbreaker. So my review for Warbreaker is certainly going to be coming up in the month of December, so stay tuned for that, as always. And with the Viewer's Choice, realized I've been trying to get them out by the 15th of every month, and I haven't exactly succeeded as often as I'd like. So I'm just going to say Viewer's Choice review for November will be up sometime in December. That, I'm pretty sure, should not be an issue. One series that I finally finished that I've been working on for so long, and I could finally say, yes, I've done it, I've completed it, I'm finished, finally. Celebrate good times, come on. Finally, I finished it. Malazan, Book of the Fallen, and I finally finished The Crippled God by Steven Erikson. Whew. It had been so long since I started reading this series, and I finally finished it. And of course, Andrew's Wizardly Reads announced he's going to do a channel read-along for Malazan, Book of the Fallen right after I finish. I'm like, oh, I can't start this again. I just finished it. So if you're doing the read-along with Andrew's Wizardly Reads, awesome. Maybe I'll just go in there and check out the comments and kind of follow along with what people are saying as they do the read-along. But I just finished this series. There's no way that I'm starting this series again. Not for a long time. I think I'll read it on Audible next time and listen to it. One of the other books I finished this month was Elantris. So I actually got through 2 Sanderson books. I did finish up Elantris earlier this month as well. So I've got a review for that on the channel, so definitely go check that out. Elantris was actually October's Viewer's Choice book review, but I didn't actually complete my read of it, or reread, because this is also a reread for me through graphic audio. I didn't actually complete it till early into November, but I do have my review for this up on the channel, so if you haven't checked that out, be sure to go and check that out. Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. It's basically a city of the dead, and people die, they get shunned off to Elantris and basically set apart from society. And that's the general concept of it, but there's so much more to it than that. It really is a good and enjoyable read. So if you haven't read Elantris, check it out, or check out my review of Elantris on the channel as well. That would be a good one to check out. One of the other books that I read in the month of November was Isaac Asimov's Foundation. So this is a great classic of science fiction Foundation is this epic scope of this universe and this galaxy that is like 10, 20,000 years in our future. Earth has long since been forgotten. It's a myth and a legend, and nobody really knows where Earth is or if Earth even existed. And Harry Seldon comes up with this mathematical formula that will predict the future with high accuracy, and it predicts the fall and end of the galactic empire. And the Foundation is set up to preserve the knowledge of humanity. So this is definitely an interesting sci-fi epic scope, far future setting, and it's a series that I first read well over 20 years ago now. I was probably in maybe early high school, late junior high when I first read this series, so probably a lot more than 20 years ago. But it's one that I've been looking forward to getting back to and rereading at some point, and I am now doing that. So I previously read Prelude to Foundation. This month I read Foundation by Isaac Asimov. That was a good, enjoyable read. I'm thinking of doing a whole series review for Foundation once I complete my reread of the series, so definitely stay tuned for that. I can tell you, if you've watched the Apple TV Foundation TV series, it's definitely different. This TV series is based on the same concept as Isaac Asimov's Foundation, but it is absolutely not the same story as far as plot execution and how the events play out. It's not the same. It's definitely different. Not that it's bad. I did enjoy what little I did watch of the series, but I'm probably not going to finish watching that series on Apple TV. The next up is The We Free Men. So this is another Discworld book. So this one has to do with little tiny men and a girl that would be a witch fighting off monsters with a frying pan. I do have a short on this, so go check that out. I did a little short review on this under YouTube Shorts on the channel, so definitely check that out. We Free Men by Terry Pratchett. As usual, Discworld is absolutely hilarious. It really is. I mean, everything that Terry Pratchett writes in the Discworld universe is just too funny. I love these books, hands down. Definitely there are some, like any series, that are better than others, but I really enjoyed The We Free Men. It was a quick, fun, and entertaining read, as Terry Pratchett books always are. So that was one of the books that I read this month. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Check out my YouTube short on that. It should be just under the shorts on the channel there. Should be able to find it. I don't have a lot of shorts right now. One of the other books that I read this month was The Future of Humanity by Mikio Kaku. This was actually the runner-up in the Viewer's Choice poll. I do have a short review on this one as well. I'm pretty sure I do. Check out the shorts. I think I remember doing a short. And if it's not there, then I must be getting old. But I remember doing a short on this anyway. So Mikio Kaku's The Future of Humanity. So this kind of talks about, what technological and scientific innovation is doing and how that's bringing us to a future and what his vision for the future of humanity is. It was an enjoyable read, as I love this scientism and futurism in general, and I love reading books like this. So it was a really interesting read from, artificial intelligence to biological and genetic engineering, augmentation, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Well, or not cool, depending on what side of the argument you're on, I guess. But overall, I did enjoy The Future of Humanity by Mikio Kaku. As always, futurism and science books, love reading that stuff. So much fun, entertaining. Absolutely loved it. Love reading that stuff. It's just so good. Moving on to what am I currently reading? So as of the day of filming this video, I am currently reading 2 books. So the first one being the second book of the Ancestor, Grey Sister. I read the first book of the Ancestor a while back, but I got a bit behind on my reading schedule. So I'm finally getting to Grey Sister, Book of the Ancestor, Book 2. So I did enjoy the first book. I enjoyed the setting and the world in which it was set up, the Assassin Nun School and all that good stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what I think of Grey Sister once I complete my read of this book. So this is one that I'm currently reading as of the day of filming this book. We'll see. It was okay. The first one was okay. I liked it enough to continue reading the series at least. And one of the other books that I am currently reading is The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. So this is another book that takes place in the Cosmere and takes place on the same world as Elantris. It is a reread for me, at least from what I remember. It takes place in the same world as Elantris. It has been a while since I've read The Emperor's Soul, but I'm looking forward to enjoying my reread of this on graphic audio as well. This one is actually a really short one, so I expect that I'm going to get through this one pretty quick. Probably wrap it up within a couple of days at most. So The Emperor's Soul is one that I'm reading right now as well. anything Brandon Sanderson, especially books that are in the Cosmere, are always some of my favorite reads. So I am listening to that on graphic audio. Again, been a while since I've read that one. And the last book that I am currently reading is I'm continuing my read of Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales to my daughter. So we've been reading a couple stories a week out of this. The last one that we read was Godfather of Death. Now that one is really kind of interesting, where death effectively becomes the godfather to an individual. And it's Grimm's, as usual, is just weird and wacky and disturbing, and they're not your Disney fairy tales. The basic story behind the Godfather of Death, particularly just with the last one that I read in this book, is that death becomes, of course, the godfather to this individual, and death grants this individual the ability to determine who will die and who will not die, and he becomes this world-famous physician. But he comes across these situations where he doesn't really want the person to die, but they've been designated to die. So he goes around and he tricks death. He sets up a trap or trick to change the fate of the individual in question. Death was not happy with this, but for his love for his godson allows him to go ahead and forgive him and give him one more opportunity. And of course, his godson once again betrays that trust of being able to determine who's to live and who's to die. And at the end, he is brought to his demise, and death shows him the reality of messing with the appointed time of death and why it's important. It's just a really interesting fairy tale in that it kind of expresses a fundamental idea that it's not up to us to determine when it is time for someone to die. That's not our job. Even if we're granted the gift of being able to know when someone's turn to die is or not, we don't get to decide or change that individual's fate. That's not our responsibility. Ultimately, that lies beyond powers beyond us, and we are not to change that and mess with that. And I thought that was kind of an interesting concept and way to tell that story and send that message. So Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales is certainly being an interesting read, and we're of course going to continue to read that each and every month as we get through this book. There's like 200 and something, 300 stories in here. My kids are certainly enjoying it, and I'm enjoying reading the Grimm's Fairy Tales as well. So there you have it. There's my November wrap-up of the books that I read this month. So let me know down below, what books did you read this month? Have you read any of these books? Let me know in the comments down below, or join me over on my Discord, or follow me on Bookstagram. All that will be linked below as well. And, as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye!